Hello everyone, welcome back to another old-fashioned brilliant king hunt involving a brilliant queen sacrifice. In this position, black is basically up a full knight while also threatening to take white's knight and a deadly mate threat with queen to b2. And it might seem like all of this is unstoppable, but it's actually an illusion because white can play the brilliant and obvious move queen takes g7 check. After the forced recapture, white can activate the rook with rook to g1, and black moving the king to h8 is a big blunder since it allows bishop to f6 mate with the bishop, since the king's escape squares are just completely cut off. And so the best move for black is to play king to h6, which white can respond with bishop to g5. And going to h5 or g7 is a blunder, and the best thing to do is play king to g6. And I'll show you why it's a blunder. King to h5 is simply met with mate n1 with knight to f4, while king back to g7 allows a discover check with the rook, and it's also a double check, so the king has to move. And after the fourth move, king to h6, white can play bishop to g7, forcing king to h5, at which point white can play knight to f4 check. After the forced king to h4, white can finish off the game gracefully with bishop to f4, f6. And so black must not do this to himself and instead play king to g6, which I'll review in a second. Okay, so black has just played the best move, king to g6, and in this position, white can move the dark square bishop anywhere and it'll be a discover check. And it might seem like the best thing white can do is to play bishop to c1 discover check, and after king to f5, white can take the queen, and the rook is also hanging. But this is not the case because despite taking black's queen, white is actually still down in material, and white's knight is about to be taken. Even if white takes the rook, he's still losing. So white must not play this, and instead play bishop to e3. And I'll show you why king to h5 is bad. It's bad because white can play knight to f6 check. After forced move king to h4, rook to h1 is unbelievably mate. So black must play king to f5, and now white can play rook to g5, and the rook is protected because of the bishop, which is pretty important. And after the forced move king to e4, white can play knight to f6 check, and notice how everything is just defended and white's pieces are just coordinated so beautifully. After the forced move king to f3, white can play rook to g3, and look at the structure of the pawn, rook, and bishop. Black's king is just completely hugged to death by white's pieces. And after the forced move king to e2, white can activate the dead bishop on a6 with pawn to c5 discover check. And the best thing for black to do to prolong the game for just a few more moves is to play knight to c4, which white will just respond by taking. And anywhere the king goes, it'll basically be mate n1 like this. A brilliant puzzle which makes the king go from g8 all the way to e1 or d1. And this puzzle took me a pretty long time to make. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please share this video to your friends, and please also subscribe as well. And I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.